Chapter 15. All in favor of slaughtering Magnus, please say aye.
What?
With most zombies, you don't expect conversation. I figured King Mubby would say rawr, or at most brains, and then get down to the business of killing us. I was not ready for, thank you, mortals, I am in your debt. He stepped out of his coffin a little unsteadily, since he was an emaciated corpse whose armor probably weighed more than he did, and did a tap dance of glee. 1,000 years in that stupid box, and now I'm free! Behind him, the inner walls of his coffin were scored with hundreds of marks where he'd been keeping track of years. There was no sign of Thor's hammer, though, which meant the zombie had been locked in there without a decent way to stream Netflix. Jack quivered with excitement. Will you look at that sword? She is so hot. I do not know, 1, how he could tell a sword was female, or 2, how he could tell that she was hot. I was not sure I wanted answers to those questions. Sam, Blitz, Hearth edged away from the zombie. Jack's point floated toward the lady sword, but I forced him to the floor and leaned on him. I didn't want him to offend Mr. Zombie or his blade by being too forward. Hi, I told the zombie. I'm Magnus. You have a lovely golden glow. Thanks. How is it that you're speaking English? Am I? The king tilted his ghoulish head. Wisps of white clung to his chin, maybe cobwebs or the remnants of a beard. His eyes were green and bright and entirely human. Perhaps it's magic. Perhaps we are communicating on a spiritual level. Whatever the case, thank you for releasing me. I am Gellier, Prince of the Danes. Blitzen peeked out from behind me. Gellier? Is Blood River your nickname? Gellier's laugh sounded like a maraca filled with wet sand. No, my dwarven friend. Blood River is a kenning I earned from my blade. The Scofing sword. Clunk, clunk. Hearth had backed into the coffin lid and fallen over it. He stayed in the crab walk position, his eyes wide with shock. Ah, Gellier said, I see your elf has heard of my sword. Jack lurched under my elbow. Oh, senor, I've heard of her too. She's like, wow, she's famous. Wait, Sam said. Prince Gellier, is there possibly a hammer around here somewhere? We heard you might have a hammer. The zombie frowned, which caused fault lines to open on his leathery face. A hammer? No. Why would I want a hammer when I am Lord of the Sword? Sam's eyes dimmed, or maybe that was just my glow starting to fade. You sure? I asked. I mean, the Lord of the Sword is great, but you could also be, I don't know, Slammer of the Hammer? Gellier kept his gaze on Sam. His frown deepened. One moment. Are you a woman? Yes, Prince Gellier. My name is Simra Albabas. We call her the Max with the axe, I offered. I will hurt you, Sam hissed at me. A woman. Gellier tugged at his chin, pulling off some of his cobweb whiskers. That's a shame. I can't unsheath my sword in the presence of a woman. Ah, what a bummer, Jack said. I want to meet Scofie. Hearthstone struggled to his feet. He signed. We should leave. Now. Not let zombie draw sword. What is your elf doing? Gellier asked. Why does he make those strange gestures? It's sign language. I said, he, doesn't want you to draw your sword. He says we should leave. Well, I can't allow that. I must show my gratitude. Also, I need to kill you. My glow was definitely fading now. When Jack spoke, his runes lit the tomb in ominous red flashes. Hey, zombie guy, gratitude is usually more like sending a nice card or and less like I need to kill you. Oh, I'm very grateful, Gellier protested, but I am also a draugr, the chief weight of this barrow. You are trespassing. So after I finish thanking you properly, I'll have to consume your flesh and devour your souls. But alas, the Skofnug sword has very clear restrictions. It cannot be drawn in daylight or in the presence of a woman. Those are stupid rules, Sam said. I mean, those are very sensible rules. So you can't kill us. No, Gellier allowed. But don't worry, I can still have you killed. He rapped the sheath of his sword 3 times against the floor. To absolutely no one's surprise, the 12 mummified warriors stepped out of their niches along the walls. The draugr had zero respect for zombie cliques. Or no, cliches. They did not shamble. They didn't moan incoherently or act dazed like proper zombies should. They drew their weapons in perfect unison and stood ready for Gillier's order to kill. "This is bad," said Jack, master of the obvious. "I'm not sure I can take out this many before they kill you guys. And I don't want to look incompetent in front of that hot lady sword." "Priorities, Jack," I said. "Exactly. I hope you got a plan that makes me look good." Sam gave us a new light source. In her free hand, a glowing spear appeared. The field weapon of the Valkyrie. Its harsh white light made the zombies' faces start to steam. Hearthstone hefted his pouch of runestones. Blitzen whipped off his bow tie, which, like his entire line of spring fashion, was lined with ultra-flexible chainmail. He wrapped the tie around his fist, ready to smash some zombie faces. I didn't like our odds. 4 against 13, or 5 if you included Jack as a separate person. I didn't, because that meant I would have to pull my own weight. I wondered if I could invoke the peace of Frey. Thanks to my dad, a pacifist-type god, who didn't allow fighting in his sacred places, I could sometimes disarm everyone in the wide circle around me, blasting their weapons right out of their hands. That was kind of my finishing trick, though. I'd really look dumb if I tried it now in this enclosed space, and the zombies just picked up their swords again and killed us. Before I could decide what would be most impressive to Hot Lady Sword, one of the zombies raised his hand. "Do we have a quorum?" Prince Gellier slumped, as though one of his vertebrae had disintegrated. "Arvid," he said, "we've been locked in this chamber for centuries. Of course we have a quorum. We are all present because we can't leave." "Then I move that we call this meeting to order," said another dead man. "Ugh, for the love of Thor," Gellier complained. "We're here to massacre these mortals, feed on their flesh, and take their souls, that's obvious. Then we'll have enough strength to break free of our tomb and wreak havoc upon Cape Cod. Do we really need—" "I second," called another zombie. Gellier smacked his own skeletal forehead. "Fine! All in favor?" The 12 other dead guys raised their hands. "Then this is a massacre. Meeting is called to order." Gellier turned to me, his eyes gleaming with irritation. "My apologies, but we vote on everything in this group. It's a tradition of the thing." "What thing?" "You know, the thing," Gellier said. "From the word Thingvellir, meaning field of the assembly, the Norse voting council." "Ah," Sam wavered between her axe hand and her spear hand, as if unsure which one to use, or whether that decision would require a new motion. "I've heard of the thing. It was the site where ancient Norse met to settle legal disputes and make political decisions. The meetings inspired the idea of the parliament." "Yes, yes," Gellier said. "Now the English Parliament, which wasn't my fault personally. But when the Pilgrims came along," he pointed his chin toward the ceiling, "well, by that time our tomb had been here for centuries. The Pilgrims landed, camped out over us a few weeks. They must have subconsciously felt our presence. I'm afraid we inspired the Mayflower Compact. Started all that business about rights and democracy in America, blah, blah, blah." "May I take the minutes?" asked a zombie. Gellier sighed. "Dagfinn, honestly, fine. You're the secretary." "I love being the secretary." Dagfinn stuck his sword back in his sheath. He pulled out a notepad and a pen from his belt. Though what a Viking corpse was doing with school supplies, I couldn't tell you. "So, wait," Sam said. "If you've been stuck in that box, how do you know what's going on outside the tomb?" Gellier rolled his lovely green eyes. "Telepathic powers. Duh. Anyway, ever since we inspired the Pilgrims, my 12 bodyguards have been insufferably proud of themselves. We have to do everything by parliamentary rules, or thingamentary rules. Not to worry, though. We'll cue you soon enough. Now, I make a motion." "First," another zombie interrupted, "is there any old business?" Gellier made a fist so tight I thought his hand would crumple. "Not. We are Draugr from the 6th century. For us, everything is old business." "I move that we read the minutes from the last meeting," said Arvid. "Do I hear a second?" Hearthstone raised his 2 fingers. I didn't blame him. The more time they spent reading the minutes of past massacres, the less time they'd have for killing us in a future one. Dagfinn flipped back in his notebook. The pages turned to dust in his fingers. Actually, I don't have those minutes." "Well then," Gellier said, moving right along. "Wait," Blitzen cried. "We need an oral accounting. I want to hear about your pasts. Who are you? Why are you all buried together? And the names and histories of all of your weapons. I'm a dwarf. The heritage of things is important to me, especially if those things are going to kill me. I motion that you tell us everything." "I second the motion," Simra said. "All in favor?" Every zombie raised his hand, including Gellier, I guess out of habit, who then looked quite annoyed with himself. Jack shot into the air to make the vote unanimous. Gellier shrugged, causing the armor and bones to creak. You're making this massacre very difficult, but all right. I will recount our story. Gentlemen, at ease. The other zombies sheathed their swords. Some sat on the floor. Others leaned against the wall, crossed their arms. Arvid and Nut retrieved bags of yarn and knitting needles from their niches and began to work on mittens. So I am Gellier, began the prince, son of Thorkel, prince among the Danes. And this, he patted his sword, is Skofnug, the most famous blade ever wielded by a Viking. Present company accepted, Jack muttered, but oh man, Skofnug is a hot name. I didn't agree with him. I also didn't like the look of terror on Hearthstone's face. Hearth, you know this sword? The elf signed cautiously, as if the air might burn his fingers. First belonged to King Hrolf, was forged with souls of his 12 followers, all berserkers. What is he saying? Gellier demanded. Those hand gestures are very annoying. I started to translate, but Blitzen interrupted, shrieking so loudly that Arvid and Nut dropped their knitting needles. That sword? Blitzen stared at Hearthstone. The one with the stone? Your house? This made no sense to me, but Hearth nodded. Now you see, he signed, we should not have come. Sam turned, her spear light, making dust sizzle on the floor. What do you mean? What stone? And what does it have to do with Thor's hammer? Excuse me, Gellier said. I believe I was speaking. If you came here looking for Thor's hammer, I'm afraid someone gave you very bad information. We have to live through this, I told my friends. There's a goat I need to kill. Ahem, Gellier continued. As I was saying, the Skofnug sword was created by a king named Hrolf. His 12 berserkers sacrificed their lives so their souls could instill the blade with the power. Gellier scowled at his own men, 2 of whom were now playing cards in the corner. Those were the days when a prince could find good bodyguards. At any rate, a man named Ede stole the sword from Hrolf's grave. Ede lent it to my father, Thorkel, who sort of forgot to return it. My dad died in a shipwreck, but the sword washed ashore in Iceland. I found it and used it in many glorious massacres, and now here we are. When I died in battle, the sword was buried with me, along with my 12 berserkers, for protection. Dagfinn flipped to the page of his notebook and jotted, for protection. Can I add that we expected to go to Valhalla, and that we were cursed to stay in this tomb forever because your sword was stolen property, and that we hate our afterlives? No! Gellier snapped. How many times do you want me to apologize? Arvid looked up from his half-finished mittens. I move that Gellier apologize 1,000,000 more times. Do I hear a second? Stop that! Gellier said. Look, we have guests. Let's not air our dirty undertunics, eh? Besides, once we kill these mortals and devour their souls, we'll have enough power to break out of this tomb. I can't wait to check out Provincetown. I imagined 13 zombie Vikings marching down Commercial Street, barging into the wired puppy coffee shop and demanding espresso drinks at sword point. But enough old business, Gellier said. Can I please introduce a motion to kill these intruders? I second. Dagfinn shook his ballpoint pen. I'm out of ink anyway. No, Blitzen said. We need more discussion. I don't know the names of these other weapons and these knitting needles. Tell me about them. You're out of order, Gellier said. I move that we be shown the nearest exit, I said. Gellier stomped his foot. You're also out of order. I call for a vote. Dagfinn looked at me apologetically. It's a thing. You wouldn't understand. I should have attacked immediately while they were off guard, but that seemed so undemocratic. All in favor? Gellier called. Aye, the dead Vikings cried in unison. They got to their feet, put away their cards and various knitting projects, and drew their swords once again.